Hello and welcome back to another video. We're in the garage again today because I've just got a delivery. It's very exciting. Let's take a look. Right, what could this big chunk be? It's not a crate engine, it's not the Godzilla motor, I'm sorry. It's garage flooring, it's new garage flooring. And it's very exciting stuff because it's a big upgrade to the rubber stuff that I've got here. So this is stuff that I bought from Halfords years ago. And it is pretty decent, but it's very spongy and very soft, which means that when you drive cars in, sometimes it bunches up around the wheels and it starts to, compress and all the rest of it. And when you're jacking stuff up, it just doesn't feel 100% safe because it is very easy to move and whatnot. Plus it's pretty boring looking, isn't it? So let's crack open some of this and we'll show you what I've bought. This is from a company called duramat.co.uk, and I'll leave the link in the description if you want to see flooring yourself. Let's crack this open. I'm desperate. Now, I bought a couple of different types of flooring, and the reason will become apparent very, very soon. And this stuff that I've bought is pretty ooh! I'm doing this. Right, what have we got here then? So, there's various types of flooring you can get from Duramat, and what I've bought to cover the whole garage floor is this stuff here. Woo! Got the Swiss track stuff. Ventlock they call it, but it's the same. Check it out, eh? Look at that. So I've got some red. We've got ramps. Click onto it, which are in here. And I've got grey and black Ventlock tiles to go right round the edge. So what I'll do just now is keep these ramps in here, and I'll keep the red tiles there. I don't know why I've got a little bit extra red tiles there. And I'll also, because the Ventlock stuff is like for detailing mostly, and you can jack up on it, but I decided to buy a square of this flat stuff as well, so I can put jack stands, a quick jack if I get one eventually, and my trolley jack on this. And it won't damage the nice Ventlock stuff underneath. So I got a little bit extra with that. And these are really durable, these tiles. Like to the point where you could drop concrete on them and it wouldn't damage them. Let's see what else we've got. So, I should have boxes here of grey, black and red tiles. So I'll go ahead and open all of them and I'll zoom you in and give you a closer look. Okay, here's what I've bought. And this is the stuff that I just bought as a, I can use these individually per square for jack stands and jacks and all that. But this is what the floor is going to look like. Isn't that fantastic? So, I did make a slight error. So, on the instructions here, when you're buying this Ventlock flooring, it tells you what the female side is and what the male side is, and it tells you how to connect them properly and what not to do. And then it shows you a diagram here, the garage door, and you want the female loops facing the garage door so you can push in the ramps when you're finished, right? And it says to do that. What I've done is I've accidentally bought the wrong ramps. I've bought the ramps with the female loops there instead of the little hooks underneath that just press in. So I'll need to start mine a slightly different way, but it doesn't matter. I'll still get around it. And what it means is I've got to have a nice clean edge up the left hand side. I might have to cut the edge here, but look how easy these go together, right? So they come, the male edge is these little clips here, and the female edges are the wee hoops. And all you do is, you just press it in, and you don't even need any tools. That's it, simple as that. And when you're walking on it, it feels really nice. And I've put the ramps in here, so I'll just need to kind of lift up my edge here and put the ramps in as I'm going. But that should work fine. Issue is, I can't remember how I designed this. I need to go back and check my little notebook. I drew a plan of how I wanted this to look, so I'm going to have the red outline going round each kind of car bay, grey in the middle and black round the outside. But I just can't remember how many I've done per car bay. And if you want to rip these up as well, try and do it one-handed. There you go, see? And just prise apart like that. So you can take them off individually for cleaning. This to be easier with two hands. And that's it. They just come off. And I'll show you with two hands. Hold on. Yeah, not too bad. You've seen loads of reviews on these on the web and stuff. These are pretty durable. I just want to keep them nice looking, hence why I bought a few bits spare of that. But yeah, you could pretty much install this with no tools with the exception of the cutting. So I'm going to get my chop saw out and I'm going to start from the front here, install from the centre out, and then see what we're dealing with, and hopefully I've ordered enough tiles, and if not I'll just contact them again. But that's the company there that I bought them from, Duramat.co.uk, vented garage flooring. And they do loads of different tiles. They do like these ones that are flat, they do it with dimples, with ridges. They do these in a slightly smaller vented tile, I think. But I like these, it looks as if you're putting 4 tiles down when it's just one. So it's kind of got a nicer look to it. But anyway, I need to clear this place out, don't I? Because I've got no room to work in here. And thankfully a lot of stuff's on the wall now, so I'll start at the front. But I need to tidy up these boxes and get things neatly in order and get rid of this pallet. So let's go and do that. Okay, minus this little bit, this is it. So this garage is about 5.5 metres by 5.5 metres, give or take a few centimetres. So I've ordered, I think it was nearly 200 tiles. I'll put an overlay of what the actual order was so you can get an idea for your own garage. But so we've got reds, 2 boxes of grey, 2 boxes of black, and some spare reds, and the ramps. So, and my 6 flat tiles. So that should be enough, if I've worked it out properly, to cover both bays, edge to edge. Whew, big job ahead, eh? This is when you start to delve into other work that you could do when you're in here. Like, will I clear out this cupboard? Will I clear out this area? Will I clear out my tool chest? Or will I just move everything, put the flooring down and put it all back as it was? Will I redesign the garage? Will I move things around? These are all things that will happen during this install, which will slow me up inevitably. But anyway, this is what it's going to look like. Yes. Oh. Into the light so you can see it. Much nicer, eh? Isn't that what a difference? It's going to look so much better, and I will try and keep my best to keep it clean. So always keep these if you've got cars and you're doing cars up. See these trunk liners that you get for cars? Always keep all of them. I've got 4 of them because they're so good for just sticking under the car when you're doing an oil change. You're lying on them if they're relatively clean, or sticking under the car that you think might have a leak. You don't want to use bits of cardboard. Keep these things, they're brilliant. As you can see, I've had a few accidents on this one, but they save your floor. And now that I've got more expensive flooring, I'll be using them all the time. So, where to start first, eh? Oh, I suppose I better get the Mustang out and start lifting some of this old flooring up, and then we'll crack on. This is going to take me long, isn't it? It's going to take a long time because I'm going to start having drift into other jobs, tidying and throwing things out and etc. Stay focused. Just do the flooring and then do all that later. Thank you for the advice. Let's crack on. Alright, I'm starting to lay a little bit here, but I need to do some car shuffling, get the Mustang out and start lifting this old flooring. But to do that, I said car shuffling, I need to move another car that's in front of the Mustang just now out the way, and you'll see that one in the next video, so stay tuned for the next project car. So let's get the Mustang out the way. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a full row and see if I can get it all centred. And once I do that, I'll see how bad the cutting is that I need to do. Alright, so that's the first row down, nearly. Need to cut the edges, but I've worked it out so that the centre is going to be, I've forgotten what I was going to do here now. I need to go and get my plan, because I was going to do 2 reds, just red striping up the middle, but never forget if my red stripe was double. I need to go and get my plan. Back in a minute. Alright, so here's my plan, right? Front of the garage is there, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tiles laid out like that, with cuts at the end, and what that does is, it gives me 2 red bays there, with grey in the middle. That's 196 tiles, plus a few spare. Right, so what I'm debating now is, do I do 12 like that, with big gaps, or do I stick 13 and have a row in the middle, and have the edges coming right out, because I don't know. Right, okay. Right, I'll try and show you what I'm talking about here, right? Middle of the garage is right here, and I've got the tiles split, so that's 1 tile here, 1 tile here. And I've got quite a big gap at the end, which I knew I was going to have, right? Which is fine. But my alternative to that is I shift the tiles like that, have 1 in the middle, and have tiny wee gaps at the end. But I'm kind of thinking I better stick to my plan here, because if I don't do it that way, I might have to order more tiles. Anyway, let's just lay them all out and we'll see how they look. Alright, quarter way through check-in. So, this is the way it's going to look, with a black border all along here. And these tiles are 40 by 40 mil, 40 centimetres by 40 centimetres, and my gap here is 36. And it's 36 over there as well, so I need to do some cutting all along here, but I'll do the edges last. But look at this, isn't this fantastic? Just going to give it a little walk over, make sure everything's pushed in properly. It's so easy to put together and so quick. You know, it's no tools required whatsoever. And look, I'm got a double red stripe going up here, and the grey box and the red box is where the cars are going to go. Double red stripe up here, two bays, grey this side as well, and then we'll move all this furniture out of the way and continue on. But yeah, it's looking pretty good, isn't it? Before we get the second red stripe going up here, let's crack on. Alright, so now I've got to the stage I need to empty these cupboards. And as usual, you find stuff that you don't even remember you had, and you think, why? Why did I keep old brake fluid? Why did I keep chainsaw oil? I don't have a chainsaw anymore. It's like stupid things, you know. Anyway, I've just found an excellent piece of scrap wood that I'm going to use to lean on when I'm cutting these tiles, but I'll need to double check my measurements, because my garage up there is 36.5 and down here I'm at 40, so I can fit a full tile in here. But I'm pretty straight. The red lines are straight up the middle in terms of meeting the middle of the garage there, so it's looking excellent. And you know, if you've got a clear space, you don't have a lot of rubbish to take care of, this would take you a few hours, no problem. And once I get all that rubbish out of the road, we'll get a clear run at this bay, and I'll get this bay finished. See, I knew this would happen. I started moving stuff around thinking, does that cupboard go better there, maybe up there, don't know. Alright, a little progress update. This video has taken me approximately 3 weeks longer to film than I'd planned because the company that I bought these from sent me everything in one batch, and I noticed I was about 46 tiles short, and most of them, those tiles that were short, were red ones. So by the time I got to here I couldn't go any longer. And I did, to be fair to them, they did send me a replacement box out as soon as they heard, and it was 2 to 3 days for delivery. And when that replacement box arrived, instead of being red tiles, it was grey tiles, which I already had enough of. Then I had to send those grey tiles back, and they resent me another box of red tiles, and thankfully they have now finally arrived, and I can finish going round the edges here. And as most people know, your garage, if you're working in cars, you can't have it out of commission for 3 to 4 weeks. You've got to use it. So I basically tiled as much as I could in this bay. I had the Mustang in and out doing a few odd jobs so that I could work on it, because I've already stacked up these. I'm not relaying these for the sake of that. So did that and got this far and had to stop. So now thankfully I've got the red tiles that I need to finish this row here and up the back. So I can get all this moved, these tiles lifted, and I can finally get to cutting the black tiles that will go right round the edge. I've started some up the back there just so I could get my cupboards back into place with my fluids and all the rest of it. Those were full tiles, and I'll just be cutting all around the edges. So we're nearly there. Looks a bit of a mess, and it does take a long time if your deliveries are delayed. So I'd hoped to have this done in one weekend. This is now the 4th weekend because I've had to wait on these tiles. So sorry, let's crack on with this. I'll put in some B-roll footage of me cutting and stuff like that, and then we'll catch you at the end and see how it looks. Cool. This is actually worse than moving house. Didn't I tell you, like, what you call it? Some people call it mission creep or job creep. Start to do other things. This is just all that's necessary for me to clear the floor. You know, bought all my COVID weights, keep all of them. That's all the machines and bench and bench press machine and chin up machine that I bought during COVID for in here. Got bits of it lying around. I'm going to keep it though, because you never know. And now I'm just sweeping up the corners here and the remainder of the area that I hadn't cleaned to allow me to lay the rest of the flooring. But yeah, don't let the internet fool you. If you've got a real life garage, as in one that you use for other stuff and household items and things and bikes and all the rest of it, like I do, and you're trying to use it for cars, it ain't going to take you 5 minutes, you know what I mean? It's going to take you a long time to do it properly, which is the length of time it's taking me. But it's going to be so worth it. I'm so nearly there. I'll just get this strip to do, this corner, you know, just lift my bench in front, floor it, and then lift the bench back. And that should be us. But yeah, whew, not an easy job, not an easy job. Or should I say, sorry, not a quick job. Very easy to lay the flooring, just not a quick job. And for those of you asking why don't I just chuck everything outside, it has been torrential rain the past 3 days. And I am not getting all this stuff soaked to the bone, having to wait for it to dry and having to have that as an extra job. So the cars will get wet, they're okay, they can be dried a lot easier than all of this. Cool, let's keep going. Alright, so now we're at the cutting stage, and I'll show you the method I'm using to cut these, because as I said at the start of the video, the garage isn't perfectly square. So these tiles are square up the top and in the middle, sorry, they're square at the front. I've got a perfect row down the front, but the garage is slightly like that. So they get narrower as they go up this way, and the same kind of slightly wider as they go up that way, but not too much. So it's to the point where if I shifted it like that and you looked at the garage, you would see the red lines kind of going off at an angle. Anyway, I'll show you what method I'm using to cut these. So instead of having to measure each one and have a bit of guesswork. I'm laying a black tile. This is the tile I'm going to be cutting, right? Down on top of the red tile here, in exactly the same spot as the red tile. You see that, right? And then I'm laying a marker tile, or a guide tile as I'll call it, the one that actually will tell me how long I need to cut the tile, hard up against the wall here, hard up against the wall, and making sure this tile hasn't moved. That gives you a perfect line to cut. Now, you have to go and find yourself a white pencil, because obviously you're going to be struggling to see the HB pencils on this black. But I'll just show you from a different angle, right? So if I stand in this tile, it's not moving anywhere. And if I press this one up against the edge, the actual, wait, and I'll show you. The loops here are giving me a gap anyway, because when I cut this tile, I'll be cutting the loops off, and it'll give you a straight edge like that, right? So I've got a little bit of leeway between the wall and the tile. You can always do that anyway for expansion, but I think because these are vented, they'll expand pretty well anyway. And as you can see, my first cut lines up there, right? So all I'm doing is marking with a white pencil. My cut line. And then to cut this, to hell with doing it by hand, you would literally be here for hours. I'm using my chop saw over here, my table saw. And I'm just sliding this in here, lining it up, and putting the blade along here, then going down the edge. And if the tile's a bit too long, just flip it over and you just cut the wee offset bit. And it cuts it, as you can see, pretty cleanly, right? A few wee bits you're going to get because just the nature of the pattern of this. But from the top, it looks extremely clean. See that? Nice clean edge, nice clean cut. Same with this one. You get a nice clean edge. Exactly what you want. So, I could be here a while, but this chop saw here will save you a heck of a lot in manual labour, because they are pretty tough to get through with a hacksaw. But using the saw, the table saw there, and I've still got my little edging bit to cut for there. Cool, let's have a shot at continuing on with this row, and hopefully I can get everything back onto the wall and get the place tidied up a bit. Alright, see that? Nice clean edge. And what we'll do is go over and see if our measurements are okay. And you just click it in as usual. From here. And there we are. Check it out, eh? Not bad at all. Not going to say it's absolutely perfect, but it almost is. I'm considering getting some plastic skirting for in here to put over the top anyway. But as far as lines go, that is pretty good. And there was a little notch there in this tile, it just popped out, just one of the, obviously a weak point on it, and just kind of popped, but you're not even notice that. And once I put the skirting over the top, you won't notice it. But excellent. So I'm going to continue on doing this method all the way up there, and we'll finish this in no time. Okay, we are so close now. Looks an absolute mess, but I'll just finish this row up here all the way to the back, and we'll finish this row and got some stuff back where it should be. So all I need to do now is the back row, which is not even half a tile wide. So once I get down here, that is us, and I'll get everything back to the way it should be, and get rid of this old flooring, put some of this stuff up the stairs, and that'll be us done. Let's keep going. Alrighty, we are done. All the cuts are done, all the ramps are done, nicely in the corners there. All the bits up the back are done. We are finished. Look at that, eh? Wow, what a look. So what I'm going to do now is get rid of all this stuff, put it back where it should go, clear up the floor, give the place a hoover, and we'll show you the final result. That is excellent, and you know what, it's actually very easy to put down, but I wouldn't recommend cutting it by hand. I'd recommend getting a chop saw or something like that, or just a circular saw to cut it, because, or a jigsaw, because it's pretty tough, and trying to do it by hand saws is just a waste of time. So let's get this all cleared up. This is excellent. Boom, boom, boom. And it feels very nice underfoot, looks professional, and let's see the final result. Well, that is us complete. Check it out, eh? Look at this. This is such an upgrade to your garage that you wouldn't believe it. It's absolutely brilliant, and the worst part about the job is simply clearing out your garage and moving stuff around. The actual tiles, cutting them and stuff, is an absolute doddle. And look, I'll go right into the line I've got here, look at that. Pretty good, eh? And once I put my plastic skirting over the top, it will look even neater. I cut the ramps. Ramps are all cut at both sides, and what a difference. What a difference. Got some stuff to take to the dump. That's the old flooring piled up there. We'll give that away so it can be reused somewhere, but this is absolutely fantastic. What a difference. I'm so pleased with it, and now I can crack on with the next project car, which you can just see here. And I'm glad I went with the red and the grey, because I was considering just getting all the same colour, but I'm so glad that I went for the different ones in the grey tiles. What difference. Wow. Let's see. Excellent. Cool, and there's my spare tiles for jacking up that I can use in my jack stands and stuff, and keep these nice looking, keep these as best as kept as I can. But anyway, that's us, good. Cool, well it is most definitely beer time now. Took me a bit longer than I thought, I must admit, just because I had to move everything around and you get to tidying and stuff at the same time. But these are Ventlock 400 by 400 tiles from duramat.co.uk. I'll leave the link in the description down below, but you can get these anywhere. Like in the States you can get them from Swiss Track, Racetrack. There'll be other companies that do the same type of ones as well. Very easy to put down, and I'm very, very pleased with it. So hit me up for the next video, because it will be the next project car getting done in this very here garage very, very soon, and I'm so pleased to have a nice floor to do everything on now. So hit the like button, hit subscribe, and we will catch you in the next video. Thank you as always, bye bye.